Diary entry number 23. Cycles, patterns, and my daily life. Hello, welcome back to the Nervous System Diaries. After I lost my job with the city, I knew I couldn't just sit around waiting for life to get better. I already had learned one thing. I couldn't rely on number 2 to do the right thing. So I started looking for another job. Ironically, number 2 ended up getting me hired where he was working at the time, at dry cleaners. At first, it wasn't terrible. The owners were nice enough. Number 2 and I worked the front counter together. But the longer I worked there, the more uncomfortable I became. The owners were so focused on making money that the customers were constantly being overcharged for simple garment cleanings. Then customers would understandably question the prices. And guess who got blamed? Us. It became a stressful place to work. Meanwhile, number 2 still had his second job. He worked afternoons in an office where people brought gift cards in to sell. He would buy the cards for less than their value and upload them to a website where they resold for a profit. To be honest, the whole thing felt shady to me. The customers, some of them were legitimate, but many weren't. It was the same people coming in week after week, returning stolen merchandise for store credit, and then selling the gift cards for cash. That never sat right with me. Eventually, the dry cleaners shut down. The business simply became too expensive to operate, and honestly, I wasn't sad to see it close. I found another job pretty quickly. This time, I worked at a uniform store that sold medical scrubs. We also measured police officers and firefighters for their uniforms. I actually enjoyed that job. Around the same time, the owners of the gift card business made number 2 an offer. Instead of closing that location down, they offered him to take it over. All he had to do was pay them $7,000 overtime for the computers and office furniture. They even transferred the business into his name, on paper. It should have been the opportunity he had been waiting for, but there was one problem. Every single night, number 2 would help himself to the business cash. He would tell himself he would replace it later, only later never came. When the customers came in wanting to sell gift cards, there wasn't enough cash left in the drawers. Within a few weeks, the previous owners started asking questions. Where was the money? Why wasn't there enough cash to keep the business running? Instead of taking responsibility, number 2 got angry. Then he decided he was simply going to close the business. The former owners were furious. They started calling, texting. They showed up at our house demanding their equipment back. I remember telling number 2, just give it to them. It's their things. You never paid for it. Of course, he got mad for me saying it. Eventually, they threatened to involve the police. Only then did he finally give everything back. Just like that, he was unemployed again. By this time, I wasn't making nearly what I used to. Thankfully, my boss at the uniform store tried to help me. He'd find little side projects for me to do just so I could earn a little extra. I even painted the storage sheds outside during the summer heat. The shop was close enough that I'd ride my bike home during the day for lunch just to cool off in front of the window air conditioner and spend a few minutes with my precious puppy. Those moments with her are what kept me going. Meanwhile, number 2 knew better than to stay at home during the day. If he was there, I'd ask him the same questions. Did you find a job yet? So he was back to spending his days at the library, or at least that's what he claimed. He still randomly showed up at my workplace from time to time, which always felt strange, almost like he was checking up on me instead of visiting. Eventually, he found a job at an auto parts store. It wasn't close by, and since my truck still didn't have the tags because we never seemed to have enough money to get them fixed, getting there for him wasn't easy. But he did have a bike, because people at the haunted house that we had volunteered for bought us both 2 brand new bikes. But at least it was something. But then another unexpected change happened. My boss sat me down and told me something I'll never forget. He said, "You're one of my hardest workers I've ever had, but you don't fit in here." The women I worked with had been there for years. They were close to retirement. They liked to gossip more than they liked to work, and apparently me actually working hard made them look bad. He couldn't afford to lose 4 longtime employees to keep one, so he worked out a deal. He would pay me for 2 weeks. He told me not to come in, promised me an excellent reference, and encouraged me to go find something better, something bigger. I appreciated his honesty. Not long after that, I was hired at Dollar General. I started part-time. I worked every hour they offered me. I went in on my days off. I never turned a shift down. My manager noticed. Then my district manager noticed, and I was promoted to assistant manager. For the first time in a long time, people kept telling me things like, "Great job. You got so much done. You work harder than 4 people." Hearing those words meant more than people probably realized, but I wasn't hearing them at home. At home, nothing has changed. Number 2 still showed up unexpectedly at my work. I still call him talking to other women online. He still denied everything. He'd tell me, "They don't mean anything. You're the only one I want." Sometimes I'd ask, "Would you rather just be in an open relationship?" He immediately said no. He would deny everything, and then suddenly do something nice. Just enough to make me question what I had seen. Just enough to make me doubt myself again. The cycle never stopped. I think I'm finally ready to put a name to it. I was living with a narcissistic man. By then, my self-esteem had already become non-existent, so I searched for things outside my relationship that made me feel like me. I volunteered as a reading buddy for underprivileged child at local schools. I volunteered for Comic-Con. I worked at a haunted house. I absolutely loved every bit of it. I was making friends. I was laughing again. For little moments, I felt like myself, but number 2 couldn't stand that. He really didn't have hobbies of his own, so he copied mine. He insisted on tagging along, then complained the entire time. I'd finally tell him, "You don't have to come. This is something that I wanted to do." Looking back now, I think he became jealous, not because of the activities, but because people liked me. He couldn't stand me having friendships that didn't revolve around him. He even started adding my friends on social media. He'd tell me they sent me a friend request. I know now that wasn't true. He simply couldn't allow me to have attention that didn't somehow include him. He also controlled what people saw online. He would tell me exactly what to post, funny things he supposedly said, pictures that make him look caring, happy, generous, loving. Sometimes I would post smiling selfies after I'd spent the previous hours crying. No one knew. My social media became another performance, another mask, another way to protect the illusion that everything was okay. Behind those smiling pictures, I wasn't happy. I hadn't been happy for a very long time. I didn't trust him. He was negative, angry, controlling, sometimes violent. He threw things, he broke things, and somehow he always found a way to make it my fault. Sometimes all it took was the wrong expression on my face, or saying the wrong thing, or simply existing in the same room. That became my daily life, and for far too long I believed it was normal. It wasn't. We'll stop here today. Next time we'll continue pulling back the layers of what my life with number 2 had truly become. Until then, I'm a soft-spoken survivor, and this is another entry into the diary of the nervous system.